Hashtag Doggy People with Phil Lassman.
Hello, it's me, and welcome to Hashtag Doggy People, the show where I get to chat to people about life, love, and dogs. This week, I've got a real-life action hero who's running a military-style operation. And if you think I'm joking, I'm not. In fact, I wouldn't dare make any jokes about this guy. He's an ex-Royal Marine Sergeant and the founder of the outstanding animal welfare charity, NOWZAD. Please stand to attention and give a warm welcome to the one and only Pen Farthing. Goes back to me stand-up days. Hello, Pen, and welcome to Hashtag Doggy People. Now, before we begin, are you in the UK or Afghanistan? I just need to know in case there'll be any gunfire during the show.
Well, I'm in Afghanistan. There may well be some gunfire. You may hear it. You may hear some call to prayer in a little bit as well. And you're definitely going to hear some dogs barking. So you can probably hear them now, actually.
Yeah, I'll never complain about hearing dogs barking. Anyway, mate, it's so good to see you. It's been ages since we've seen each other. The last time it was down at one of your gigs in a pub in London, where I think might have been the Compare or something. We did an auction. Pen, let me ask you, how are you personally? I mean, how's lockdown been for you? Yeah, because you're being stationed in Afghanistan.
It's been a wild time, to be fair. I remember that night with fondness, by the way, when we had our fundraiser in London. Sadly, I don't even think that pub exists anymore now. I think that's closed down. Obviously, sadly, one of the victims of all of this that's been going on. But yeah, I did Crufts back in March with our fundraiser we had there. And then I flew out to Kabul because we had some dogs that needed moving. And sadly, never came home. I got out here, the world obviously closed down, and I've been here ever since. You might have just heard some of the dogs having a little bit of a disagreement behind me.
You'd soon break that up, wouldn't you? How's lockdown affected the operations of NOWZAD?
As obviously England went into lockdown that first time back in March, it was still progressing over here in Afghanistan. Everybody's incredibly worried from Iran, obviously being our neighbour. Iran was suffering terribly from it. And lots of Afghans, we're talking like 30,000 Afghans a week, were then fleeing from Iran back to Afghanistan. And basically from the west of the country over in Herat, they then obviously brought coronavirus back in. And then those people started making their way eastwards towards Kabul. So probably about April time, we started seeing the effects of it here. And that actually forced us at the NOWZAD clinic and shelter to actually go into lockdown ourselves. So we basically locked the staff in. We closed the doors apart from emergency cases. And then we rode it out for 12 weeks, basically. We didn't go outside. We up with food, and that's how we kind of kept going. And came a little bit like Groundhog Day, but I think the same for most people back home. And
yeah. We're all the same anywhere in the world. This is, We're living through unprecedented times. But we can just do the best we can. But listen, Pen, you for many, many years, you live and work in what was one of the most dangerous places on earth in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. I'd like to actually begin by asking you, were you big, brave and strong from an early age? What sort of upbringing did you have?
I think I had a fairly normal upbringing. I had some very supportive parents, who made me study, made me do all those good things. But at a very young age, I joined the Army Cadets, I think at 13, because I watched on TV. I was watching the Falklands War unfold, every night, 6 o'clock. Obviously, we didn't have the news like we do now, 24/7. But yeah, I watched reports from, I think it was Max Hastings, I think his name was, the BBC reporter.
I remember, yeah.
And, I was like, wow, and watched these Royal Marine Commandos jumping across the Falkland Islands, taking on the Argentinians. And I was like, yeah, I want to be one of those guys. And really from that age, 13, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So my whole kind of school life was gearing me up to join up with the Marines.
So really, Okay, so basically watching the reports at the Falklands that's what made you that was the bug that was what made you go into the military, thinking that you're going to have a career in the military from
Oh,
watching
100,
that on TV.
yeah. I
Wow,
remember
yeah,
the news report saying, these are the toughest military guys in the world, and I was like, well, I want to be one of them. And that kind of set me off. And it's my mum always reminded of this, but I wanted to join at 16, but she wouldn't sign the paperwork. So I had to wait till I was 18, which is obviously quite good. So that means I got my A levels, but as soon as I was 18, I could sign the paperwork myself. That was me off to join the Marines down in Devon.
I mean, what I was going to ask you, what did your parents think about their son going to go into the army, into being a Marine, and obviously with all the dangers associated with it? Were they cool about it, or did they give you a hard time?
I don't think she was happy. They never gave me a hard time, but they supported me, and I think my mum was incredibly glad when I finished my 22 years as a Marine when I left, and then she didn't obviously realise I was going to start a dog charity in Afghanistan and then come straight back to the place I've been serving in. So I don't think she's kind of happy with that, no. But they never outwardly said they weren't happy, and they supported me. And I imagine, like all parents, they worried when obviously I deployed somewhere. So, yeah.
But I bet you any money that they're very proud of you. Like literally everyone who's a fan of yours is very proud of you. I mean, you're strong and courageous. I mean, we need people like you. It'd be no good if it was reliant on people like me who just sit in an office in Highgate and just stay safe. But anyway, listen, everyone Pen in the dog world knows about NOWZAD. But the purpose of the show, the reason I'm doing this is to increase awareness of so many charities like yours around the world, and hopefully to raise a few quid for you as well later on during the show. But what I'd like to know is if you can just tell us sort of briefly, how did it all begin for you in Afghanistan?
13 years ago now, when I was deployed here as a Royal Marine, I was sent to Helmand Province to a small town called NOWZAD, basically nestled between the southern tip of the Hindu Kush Mountains, northern tip of the Helmand Desert. And we were there to basically stop the Taliban traveling through this valley to get to a place called Kajaki. And while I was there, obviously doing things that Royal Marines were sent to do, I ended up looking after this former fighting dog. It had been used sadly in a dog fight. I'd seen the dog fight taking place, so I broke up that fight. Thankfully, obviously, our guns are bigger than the Afghan police who are organising this fight, and then became really, companions with this dog. I wanted to just kick him out because I didn't have space or the time to look after a dog, but I just couldn't. His ears were sadly docked. They just cut them off for the dog fight. His tail was missing. He had scars all down the side of his face. I couldn't bear to just throw him back out of our compound. So I ended up looking after him, and he became kind of my magic carpet, if you like. I could just spend 5 minutes with him and not be in Afghanistan, and just be somewhere else. So at the end of that tour, we've been together now for a good few months. I couldn't bear to leave him behind. So I hatched a plan to have him smuggled across Afghanistan to Kabul, the capital. And then from there, he was flown to Islamabad in Pakistan. And then from Islamabad to London. And obviously back then, 13 years ago, we used to have quarantine here in the UK. So he went into quarantine for 6 months. But that dog, I called him NOWZAD because of the town we were fighting over was obviously battle scarred and war torn, just like him, with his cropped ears and his scars down his face. And he kind of became the inspiration and obviously now the legacy for what we do today out here in Afghanistan.
Was he your very first dog? I mean, when did you first discover your love for dogs and animals?
No, I'd had dogs before. My dad had a dog when I was a child. Obviously then, once I joined the Marines, as a young Marine, it was quite difficult to actually have a dog of my own. But as I went up the ranks and got to a position where I was quite senior, then I could actually bring a dog in to work with me when we were just on a base back in the UK. So I'd actually had a Rottweiler and a Springer Spaniel before I'd actually got into rescuing dogs from Afghanistan.
What breed was NOWZAD, the fighting dog that you took on?
NOWZAD was really whatever breed he wanted to be. That was his kind of mindset. You know,
He had
really,
attitude.
oh yeah, totally. He just had these big shoulders, you know, and then his head, and he was just like, right, I'm going there, and there's not a lot you're going to do about it. But known as a Coochie, the Afghan Coochie breed is basically based on the nomadic tribes here that just wander the Afghan plains, and they have guarding dogs, dogs that not for them so much, but for their goats and sheep and the donkeys and the camels they have. So at night, because there is sadly a lot of thievery, banditry here, they actually have these dogs which protect those herds and the campsites. And that's a Coochie dog. So
Coochie.
kind of now's that, yeah.
Is that a common breed where you are, Pen? Is this Coochie breed? You don't get poodles and Labradors and that sort of breed out there, do you?
No, not. I'm going to say no, but we have actually come across a few. Here, there's been no obviously control on dog breeding as such. And I don't mean by an organised breeder. I mean just out on the streets for like the last 50 years. So the dogs you see now are just a mixed match of everything. So sometimes we see the tiniest little dogs, and then other times we see this dog that's bigger than me, and that's the Afghan Coochie. And if you go down south into the southern Afghanistan areas, provinces, you'll see so many more of these Coochie dogs, where people still use guarding dogs, herding dogs, and sadly for dog fighting. The actual breed here, obviously in Afghanistan, the recognised dog breed is obviously the Afghan Hound, or as they call him here, the Afghan Stasi dog. And the king of Afghanistan, when he was here, obviously once the Russians invaded, obviously he was removed from power, but that was the Afghan king's breed. And so he used to breed these Afghan hounds. And now and again, we'll actually get some that's come into our clinic for treatment, and they're just magnificent looking dogs. There hasn't been a genuine Afghan hound left Afghanistan, because it's actually illegal to export them from Afghanistan still today.
Is it? So what's your favourite breed of dog?
Anyone that's rescued.
That's it. Good answer, Pen. Good answer. A rescue dog. So how many dogs have you got in the pound at the moment?
Right now, we have roughly 140 dogs.
Wow, 140.
Have over 40 cats, a goat, a bull, 7 donkeys, and a horse.
I was going to ask you about the other animals, because I know it's not just dogs that you cater for. How many dogs would you handle in the course of a year at NOWZAD?
That's truly a difficult question to answer, because we have dogs that come to us from all different situations. So it might be we have Afghans who obviously are very animal friendly, just the same as in the UK. You'll get some who like dogs, some who don't. So we'll see Afghans who bring us a dog that they found injured on the side of the street, and obviously we'll patch that dog up, and if we can release it, we'll neuter it, vaccinate for rabies, and then we'll put it back on the street. If it's obviously seriously injured, but it could survive and maybe potentially go to a loving home, then we'll bring that dog in, and then we'll do our best to find it, a loving home. And we have quite a few tripod dogs, that are on our adoption program. We might have dogs that have got injury, an illness or disease. And just recently, sadly, we've had a couple of dogs with rabies. So obviously there's no choice with that, but to put the dog to sleep, because that's curable. And also parvo and distemper. And if it's an adult dog and it's early stages of distemper, parvo, then sometimes we have a good chance of being able to bring them through the other side. But sadly, as a younger dog, normally 9 out of 10 times they're not going to make it. So we have to do obviously what's best for them. So, so many animals come in, and people who actually own animals here, so they'll bring their dogs in for treatment because they know NOWZAD now is obviously a reliable place to come. They're going to get quality treatment. And all our vaccinations for like rabies, we give out free to the local Afghan population. So, yeah, it's so difficult to say how many come through. But I mean, to date now, we've been going 13 years. We've actually helped to rescue over 1,600 dogs and cats for soldiers who've been serving out here. So that kind of gives you some idea of the number come through our clinic.
Sure, sure. And of course, you mentioned, I know you help. You're very heavily involved with all the soldiers that have been serving out in Afghanistan, and you reunite them with their pets. I think you've helped. I've read somewhere that you've helped over 1,200 soldiers to become reunited with their pets that they've met while they've been in service out there. Can you tell us a bit about that, Pen?
Yeah, no, no. Like I said, actually now it's 1,600 soldiers who have actually come to NOWZAD
1,006.
for help. And these are soldiers who are serving in, the bases all over Afghanistan. And, still today, there's a lot of military action over here, although obviously there is a peace deal going on that the Americans have signed with the Taliban. But yeah, those soldiers, end up looking after a dog or a cat that's, come onto their base, or they're found injured or suffering out on the streets while they've been on patrol. And then they end up looking after it, much the same I did with NOWZAD. And then they can't bear to leave it behind. So they end up taking it in, falling in love with it, and then realizing that they can't just leave it behind at the end of their tour. So we end up being called and helping them hopefully to be able to get that dog back to the United States or to England or to Europe or wherever it's going.
Amazing, Pen. Absolutely. I can't, the stuff that you get involved with is awesome. So Pen, that's so you're rehoming all these dogs. Can you tell us a bit more about your rehoming program?
Yeah, okay. We have so many dogs and cats that obviously come into NOWZAD that, sadly have been injured or they've suffered from some form of trauma or illness. And they're just so friendly, just so adorable. We just can't bear to put them back on the streets. But clearly, we just can't keep them here at NOWZAD either. So we run an adoption scheme where people can actually adopt, whether in England or America or Europe. And so, those people are vetted the same as you would as if it was a major animal welfare charity in the UK, Rehoming. And then we fundraise, and then we have the animals sent back to either England or America. And, our rehoming has been so successful, and people have, absolutely adored ending up with one of these Afghan companion animals, to be their forever friend. And it's fabulous to see a dog that we came in here in horrific conditions end up as somebody's adorable buddy back in the UK. So we have all our dogs and cats are on our website. People can go on there, browse them, and then we end up giving them more videos and photographs. And then from there, we do a home check, and then it progresses. So yeah, if people check out our website, they'll be able to find more of the animals that we have ready for adoption.
Brilliant, brilliant. And how many of those adoptions take place each year, roughly?
We normally do 2 to 3 a month.
Okay.
So obviously had a big problem at the moment with coronavirus. So we had quite a few of the animals stacking up here at one point during the height of the pandemic. I mean, we had over 50 dogs just around the house here, which was absolutely crazy because we just couldn't get the flights out. But thankfully now, with airlines opening up again, we've managed to get rid of that backlog, and lots of animals who are overdue have now arrived in the UK and are now settling into their new lives there. So yeah, it all depends on how keen people are, and obviously if they have the opportunity to give one of our Afghan dogs or cats a loving home.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm sure when people hear more about the operation that you're doing there, hopefully we can assist you in that. But we're gonna actually advertise your website on the screen on the show, Pen. I know that you, over the years, you've developed the NOWZAD facility tremendously. And how many people have you got in your team out there at the moment?
I'm glad you mentioned that, Phil, because that's one of the things I wanted to say.
We want to hear.
And it's all well and good saying that obviously calling me the action man, but obviously a huge amount of respect, and I'm so proud must go to our Afghan staff. We employ
Absolutely.
24 Afghan nationals. I'm really proud to say that we've got the first ever Afghan veterinarians who are fully qualified and experienced in their field, who are the ones who they do the daily care with the animals. I don't. Now and again I go in and help clean up the clinic. But that's about it. These guys and girls, and say one of them, Dr. Mida, a female Afghan veterinarian, they do all the hard slog every single day. And when things get tough here, and sometimes they do. I mean, sadly, we've had an attack here at Kabul University just a couple of days ago. And the actual university is only a mile down the road from here where I'm sat. If things get too bad, I get to go home. I can get to the airport, get on a plane, and I can come back to England. Whereas these, our Afghan staff, they have to stay here. They've got no choice. They've got nowhere to escape to. So my hat goes off to them. They come into work every single day, regardless of the threat out on the streets. We have had, like I said, now there's been some form of attack here in Kabul every single day for the last 2 months without break. Sadly, back home, you only hear about the big ones. Obviously, the university, sadly, was one.
It's amazing. I'm sitting here quite comfortably listening to this, but I can just, imagine what those people, they must be a special kind of breed. How do you recruit these amazing people to come and work out there?
Yeah, when we first started off back in the day, it was very much who we knew, and obviously somebody then knew somebody else, and that's how we started. And as we progressed over the years and the staff have expanded, so now it's very much a process like you would in the UK. We go through an interview process, and then we read recommendations, and then they come in. And especially with our veterinary staff, we actually now have veterinary interns. So that's a program that we've developed quite successfully now for the last couple of years. So the interns spend 6 months with us. They work for free. We just help them out with some transport costs. And then at the end of that, if obviously they're up to what we expect now as a NOWZAD veterinarian, then they have a good chance of joining our team, or we obviously support them in their applications to other obviously facilities, wherever that might be, where they want to open up their own veterinary clinic. So and that's how we get the staff here now at NOWZAD. I'm really proud of them. They're here every single day, and they're doing an absolutely fabulous job. But again, they can only do what they do because we have absolutely amazing supporters, back in the UK and across in the USA, and they do the hard grafting, raising the money that we need to be able to keep going here. So it is very much, a team effort across continents, of people doing so much for a place they're probably never going to visit. I would love to say, bring people out here so they could volunteer at the clinic. It just sadly, as the security is worsening, and obviously with COVID, especially at the moment, we just can't. But it's a team effort across so many different continents that it's absolutely amazing to be part of.
Well, you started it, Pen, and you're running it. It's an amazing operation, a unique operation. Can I ask you what's life like in the desert? You are out there in the. What's life like there? What do you do for entertainment? How do you cope?
Can you not tell by my abs? Phil, can you not tell what
but you've always. So that's it. Working out in the gym. Pen, you were born buff. I'm sure of it. As a baby, you probably come out with biceps, knowing you. Right. But no, seriously. You've got this amazing team. Obviously, they're very attracted to come and work with you out there. Pen, but obviously they're not the most ideal, luxurious working conditions. How do you get these wonderful people to stay there? They live and work on site. I'm just interested to know, and I'm sure our viewers would love to know, what life actually is like every day out there in the NOWZAD compound.
Okay, for me, it's slightly different because this is also where I live when I'm here in Afghanistan. So it's very much a house, as you would expect back in the UK. And then the clinic is like an additional bolt-on to where I'm staying right now. We have mains electricity, but that goes off reliably most hours.
Oh, hang on, Pen. Lost you there. Come back. Oh, connection problem. Oh no. Pen, are you back with us?
And as if on cue, the power went
Unbelievable. You couldn't write that, could you? You went to feed the meter, I hope. Put some money in there.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's exactly
All right.
like.
Great. Well, you see, that's what life's like there. So carry on. You were telling us.
So yeah, so if we've got power, then you get a hot shower. If there isn't power, you don't.
Yeah.
But obviously makes life a bit awkward trying to stay in touch with the rest of the world. We have a generator because when our vets are carrying out operation, they need to have a constant, obviously, power source for the ventilator and obviously the rest of the equipment they use. And the staff will start trickling in from around about 7 o'clock in the morning. So from Jumar and Basir, when they come in, they're the guys responsible for cleaning the clinic and checking out the animals first thing in the morning and the dog kennels we have here. And then the vets will come in for 8 o'clock. And then we have, because under Afghan labour law, we have to provide a meal at lunchtime for the staff. So then our cook will come in and the housekeeper will come in to start obviously sorting all of that out. So that goes on, and it's just, thankfully nowadays, it's a well-oiled machine of people just going about their jobs. Everybody, and I always give them credit for their just amazing cheerfulness, and getting on with the job. In the middle of summer, I mean, it's 40 degrees plus here, and we have no air conditioning. And then we're now going into the winter, and it'll be during the day around about 0 degrees and then drop at night to like -10, -15. So, these guys crack on with it and just get on with it. We don't have central heating. It's all wood stoves, wood burners. So, we can't have those on all the time, but we have them on in the clinic, the cat rooms, and obviously where the animals, the dogs are, obviously recovering, rehabilitating. So, it's just an ongoing cycle, and the staff know what they're doing and they're able to, to keep going throughout the day. And like I said, it's really positive to see them all doing that. About 5 o'clock, most people have left. So it'll come to just a few of us who actually live here in the house. And like our entertainment really is, going to the little homemade gym we've got here, or settling down and just watching a video. And sadly, because of coronavirus, as we know, there's no new films out. So we are kind of literally Groundhog Day, watching the same movies over and over again. Sure. But I said, we are going to sit down and watch a movie or anything. Afghans, I don't know why, but they love horror films. And I am not a fan of films. And so their favourite thing to do would be turn out all the lights and we sit in the living room in the dark watching a horror film. I'm like, really? Afghan's scary enough as it is. I don't need to be watching a horror movie.
You're right. Especially, so hang on, just let me get this picture right. You're all huddled there in the dark, in the middle of the desert, in Afghanistan. It's freezing cold and you're all watching horror movies. I mean, if that's not bad, are there any horrible creepy crawlies that come in at night in the desert out there?
Thankfully, no. I mean, the most we have here now and again is mice, because we have obviously so much dog food we store, the rice, the soya, and that we use to feed the dogs and that. So we'll have mice that will pop in now and again to say hello. I had one run across my face not too long ago while I was sleeping.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, we don't see anything else. I think it's probably because we do have so many dogs and cats here. So, but you will get scorpions and the odd snake or two, but not where we are. We're too built up here for that. But out if you go outside in the the provinces, you'll definitely find the odd snake or scorpion or two.
Really, it's a one-star hotel out there in NOWZAD, isn't it? Just one star. Anyway, listen, Pen, I'd like to just talk for a moment about your book, because you did write a book called One Dog at a Time.
Yep.
Correct. And that really tells the whole story, I think, about when you first went to Afghanistan. And, well, actually, let me, you tell us about it. What's in the book, Pen? Because I've got a nice little copy. I was hoping to actually have the book itself here, but I've only just got a reprint of it there. There you go. One Dog at a Time. I've done my research, Pen. I will get that book. Tell us what's in that book. What's it about?
Well, One Dog at a Time. When I came back from Afghanistan and I'd rescued NOWZAD, the dog, and he was living with me in England, I started to help other soldiers who were in the same position as me get their dog out of wherever they were in Afghanistan and get it to obviously their home country. And I was giving some talks about obviously just my story, and people were like, well, this would make an excellent book. Why didn't you write a book? And having never written a book, but bizarrely, I'd always had aspirations to write one. That's what I started to do. And miraculously, it was published. And so one dog at a time tells the tale, excuse the pun, of NOWZAD and how he went from being this dog used in dog fights in Helmand province to actually, and everybody knows it's got a happy ending now because of obviously the charity, but
Sure.
how he rescued to the UK, because as simple as me just saying we smuggled him out of Afghanistan and then to Islamabad. So, and that tells his tale, and all the profits from that book, if people buy that book, especially from the NOWZAD store online, then all of those profits go into the NOWZAD charity to what we do out here. And if people really enjoy reading that book, obviously you can order it in time for Christmas, but there is also a follow-up book called No Place Like Home. And then a
Scoop, we've just heard it here.
Yeah, so, and then a book called Wiley, all about one of our former rescues, Wiley from Kandahar, who actually went on to win Scruffs back in 2014. So yeah, those 3 books, all of them, obviously the proceeds help to us to do what we do out here now in Afghanistan.
Brilliant.
Oh, they read. So if anybody wants a good book for Christmas,
absolutely, we're gonna pick that up. Pen, so you're leading from the top. You've got this fantastic team that you're working with who are very loyal to you there and helping you roll out all the services that you do. Tell us now about your funding and your patrons. Who are your patrons? Can we give them a shout out? And we're coming to a point where we'd like to try and make an appeal for you. So yeah, your patrons.
I think we have 2 very well-known people out in the world who vouch for us. We have Peter Egan. Should be Sir Peter Egan, but no one's got to that yet. So Peter Egan has been absolutely wonderful in his support of us, and just he's actually been out here as well. Peter came out.
Exactly.
That was now. I think that might have been 2015. I think it was. But he actually came out and spent a week out here in Afghanistan. So he's been to the shelter. He's seen how we operate. So that was incredibly brave of him to come and do that, and he did it without a second thought. So I'd love to have him back out again so you can see how he's progressed since his last visit. But sadly, with coronavirus, we were planning on him coming this year, but that trip obviously didn't happen. And then our second fabulous patron, I should say joint patrons, are Ricky Gervais and his wife Jane. Both of them are absolutely amazing supporters. And Ricky recently donated some proceeds from his humanity tour to NOWZAD, which was absolutely, fabulous. So, yeah, both of them have done absolutely wonderful things for us, and all 3 obviously continue to, spread the word of NOWZAD, which we're so grateful for.
I mean, well, you've just mentioned Peter and Ricky. I mean, they're becoming quite a juice and twosome on the circuit because they're doing the most incredible fundraising for a variety of charities. I mean, they recently pulled off an unbelievable coup with the Brewers Brew Dog, and they because of Ricky and then promoted by Peter. They sent the profits split between All Dogs Matter and Dogs on the Street. So yeah, they get in everywhere. We're so grateful to have them, and they're very powerful patrons. But look, Pen, what I want to do now is I'm going to let you do a face to camera bit. And obviously, we'd like to, on the show, the whole purpose of me coming on, talking to our guests is to raise awareness of their charities and also to make an appeal. So I'm going to say, if you can, please send some donations to Pen at NOWZAD. And 1 second, I forgot. It's a very big thing, so I ring my big bell for it. We would like to know, Pen, how we can donate to NOWZAD. What's the easiest way that we can send donations and support you? So, camera's yours. Go for it.
Fabulous. without the amazing support of people back in England and America, wherever they might be, NOWZAD just could not be here for the animals with no voice. But everybody else is, it's the supporters that are being the voice for these animals. And we truly do need those donations, and people can donate a variety of ways. If they want to, they can donate online. So go to NOWZAD, NOWZAD.com. And we have a page there full of how you can donate, whether it be using, obviously, a bank card, whether it be using PayPal, or whether it's donating other items. So we actually collect old bras. So any ladies out there who would like to get a new bra for Christmas from their husbands, boyfriends, they can take the hint to them by actually saying they're going to send their old bra to NOWZAD. We can turn that into cash. People can donate via checks, so they can send us a donation via a check, just written out to NOWZAD and then sent to our office address. People can send us old stamps. We take the picture stamps, and we've got a collector who turns that into cash for us, and he also takes old jewelry and cutlery, old coins, all sorts of things. And those details are on our website. People can also support us by visiting our online shop. We have lots of merchandise on there. So NOWZAD t-shirts, we've got fleeces, we've got the tin can lids, when you've opened a tin of beans and then you decide you're not going to eat them all, so you want to put it back in the fridge in the tin, but obviously you've got nothing to cover it with. So we've now got these nice little plastic sealable tins. So you're helping to obviously help a dog out here or a cat by buying one of those to seal your baked bean tin. There are just so many ways people can support us, but also by spreading the word. In real terms, we're actually still a very small charity. And it's amazing how many people in 13 years still don't know about NOWZAD. So if people can sign up for our newsletter and then pass that newsletter on to other people, that would just be absolutely amazing. And that would just help us so much by more and more people being invested in the lives of these animals out in Afghanistan that desperately need their help.
Well, I can tell you what, Pen, after this show, we're going to big you up big time. We're going to roll you out and make you a massive charity, because it's ridiculous that you should be awesome and huge. And I'm going to make it my personal mission to make sure that happens, because, I've always been an admirer of yours, Pen. And I don't know another charity that's like yours that looks after dogs in the way you do, but carry on doing what you're doing. You're saving so many dogs. You're saving so many animals. You're looking after people, and you're doing it in a place that the majority of us would not want to be. So you are an incredible character, I find, and as a result of that, I'd actually nominate you, Pen, for this. But who would you nominate as your all-time animal welfare hero?
Well, got to be Jill, obviously Animals Asia, the work that she's done in starting off that fabulous charity. And in the early days, now got a lot of help and support from her team in how we set up a charity. So Animals Asia are definitely top of my list. But obviously, Sir, I'm going to start that campaign now. Sir Peter Egan, the amazing work he does. I mean, he's just constantly, if I go onto his Twitter feed, he's promoting an animal welfare charity, or obviously he's condemning some action, some horrendous horrible bit of animal cruelty. So Peter Egan definitely would be on the top of my list for somebody who should be recognised a lot more for obviously the work they do.
So I want to ask you, my last question for you is, what is your vision for NOWZAD in the future?
The vision for the future of NOWZAD is I would love to be able to expand so that we have clinics all over Afghanistan and also in other countries. We now know that animal welfare is something that is on people's radar here in a completely Muslim country. So there's no reason why we can't now export this model and go into other countries. You've got Iran, Pakistan, they all have desperate animal welfare issues. But it all takes money, sadly, and that's something that we struggle with, just like any other animal welfare charity, every single day. So if we suddenly got that winning lottery ticket, then that's what I would do. We would expand and reach out further to help more of those animals in desperate need.
Well, I just hope you win the lottery, Pen. That's what I'm hoping for.
That would be
I've got two. Listen, good luck should come to those who deserve it, and you certainly do. Pen, I've got two other questions I'd like to ask you. So, Pen, what's been the very worst experience for you in Afghanistan?
Well, the worst experience, I guess, when we have an animal come in, we've rescued so many that have been in absolutely horrendous state. And I think for me, it was probably J-Bad. That was a dog that we'd been told about. We'd had a phone call telling us this dog was out in the streets dragging itself along the road. And we immediately went out, we found it. And there was this big old Afghan Coochie dog. He was probably the same weight as me. And he'd basically been hit by a car. So the back of his spine had been broken. And so he couldn't use his back legs, but he was dragging himself along the road to get from wherever he was to where he wanted to go. And by looking at his injuries, he'd probably been like that for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And he was the friendliest dog ever. And we got him back here to the clinic. We gave him a good meal. If we're ever going to have to put an animal to sleep, because of injuries like that, we always make sure we give it a name first. So we named him J-Bad after the road we found him on. We found him the Kabul to Jalalabad road. And then, I had no choice but to put him to sleep. And it was just so heartbreaking. And we do that, sadly, more times than I care to think about. And it might be a dog that's got distemper, parvo. And sadly, like I said, we've had quite a few cases of rabies lately, or just these horrific injuries where, there is nothing we can do for this dog. So I think they're the worst personal, where I've been involved, but also every single day when you see on the news, and we get obviously our security reports where there's something happening in Afghanistan, like, for example, at the Kabul University, where just so many students just lost their lives needlessly. Just gunmen walked in, blew themselves up, killing students who are actually at a book fair. And I think seeing that every day and knowing there's absolutely nothing that I can do about that, it is just kind of, it's very heartbreaking. And so I think they're the worst things about being here in Afghanistan, definitely, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're living in a dangerous world. But tell us about, what's your best experience out there?
There is no one experience. It's every day. Just every day being part of this amazing, setup. As I said, seeing our staff come in, and they're the ones who do all the hard work. I kind of just saunter around, trying to look good. These guys are there and doing it every single day. They're on the front line. They're the ones who make the decision about the animal and how they're going to treat it. So just being part of this, and being inspired every day by these guys, but also, as I said, by our supporters. These are the people who raise money for a place they're never going to visit, for animals they're never going to hold or meet. So for me, being part of that is just something phenomenal. And, I can't thank everybody enough for the support they give to this charity. It truly is just amazing.
Well, you're more than welcome, Pen. You're an unbelievable character. I could talk to you for 3 days and 3 nights. All I need is a black coffee in a bucket. You're one of our most respected animal welfare heroes, Pen, and I'm really proud to call you my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being my guest today. And if it's okay with you, Pen, we'd like to come back and visit you again in a few weeks or months' time, and just find out how you're doing. And also would like to see the results of our little campaign that we're going to run for you, to see if that's had any effect on your fortunes. And can I say, I'm just so delighted that we've had this time today, Pen. You just make sure you look after yourself, stay safe, look after the team, as I know you will. Please send our love and respect to everyone at NOWZAD, everyone who works for you out there. And all I can say is, long may you continue. And we love you very much. We really do. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a massive applause to our friend Pen Farthing.
Thank you so much, Phil. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, that's the end of our show. I hope you enjoyed meeting the incredible Pen Farthing. Who said I'd never get Pen Farthing? Yes, I know he's tougher than me. Amazing character. Anyway, please get involved in the show. Tweet me, email me, whatever takes your fancy. Just keep watching and please get involved. That's it. So join me next time when we'll be meeting some more #doggy people. Stay safe, love your dog, and cheerio.